Officially 128, the right time for Elliott, and he wins on a 10-4 decision. So a great job by the redshirt freshman. Stepping in for the number 12 wrestler in the nation, Zeke Moisey, and Elliott comes away with the victory to give the Mountaineers the 3-0 advantage to start. Now on to 133. Rashawn Cooley for Clarion against Corey Stainbrook for the Mountaineers. Stainbrook, a junior, 5-12, his record this season. Cooley, a freshman out of Williamsport, Pennsylvania. He's 6-16. This is a young squad for the Golden Eagles. Takedown here for Cooley.
Yeah, very young squad. You know, they try to do a pretty good job in recruiting and all that. I mean, you know, Clarion, historically, an unbelievably strong program. Great history, national champions, and obviously Coach Turnbull, who was former coach here for a long time, a Clarion alumni, and they've just fallen on some hard times. You know, some of that's funding related, right? The university and the department itself hasn't really committed as much as they probably really need to. So they don't have the scholarships everybody else does, and here they are working to be a Division I program,
right.
And you got to upgrade a couple things if you're going to compete at the Division I level. They're the only Division I program within Clarion, right? Yeah. So you'd like to see them do some things there. I know they tried to look. I think they're looking at some things and making some money commitments. Whether that's enough and over enough time, I certainly hope so. You'd like to see them get back to where they can be competitive and have some people that are competing for titles.
Yeah, I agree. Great history with this program. Division II and everything else in the Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference, but in the PSAC and wrestling, and also a former Eastern Wrestling League competitor with WVU. Such a long history between these two programs. They have faced each other every year since 1979.
And there's a nice job in scrambling by Stainbrook, who finally gets around in what was a pretty awkward scramble. I mean, it wasn't the textbook type of scramble. It was just sort of find something, catch something, and try to sit up and get your head up above his, and does a nice job, finally gets himself on top, and is going to spend a little time on top.
Now he has a 3-2 lead and is starting to accumulate ride time.
Oh, he sort of fell off and fell backwards there, which is not really the best spot to be in. There's a much better place to be in. Look, you got to use your body. I mean, being on top is still about pressure and not just making him carry a load, but really working, again, to work angles and to pick at some things to make somebody have to work hard in order to not get turned. And when you give him a break, when you let your hip off of him, when you let your weight off him, let him sort of base out like that, you're doing him a favor.
Lenny Gino steps in with 12 seconds remaining in the first. Almost a minute of ride time right now for Stainbrook, 57 seconds officially. Sammy Hinson not happy that Rashawn Cooley going to change out the headgear. Sammy Hinson wants to wrestle.
Yes, he does. He doesn't want to give him any breaks. And, you know, when you're wrestling a guy who's 6-16, the last thing you want to do is give him an opportunity, take a break, get a rest. I think his headgear actually might have broke. So that would be sort of, you don't usually plan that.
Yeah, Sammy Hinson is his second year leading WVU. Right now watching Corey Stainbrook take a 3-2 lead and a minute and 8 of ride time into the second period.
So here's that takedown where he sort of sits and he just sort of, then he finally turns back into him that way after it looked like Cooley just sort of lost track of where he was or what he was doing and gives up the takedown. Nice job by Cooley, really working on that tilt.
Stainbrook does a good job avoiding any near fall points or anything, rolling back forth. Now he's to his feet.
He's to his feet, and nice job by getting himself out. Put himself in a little jeopardy trying to do that because he didn't do a great job of getting wrist control or allowed really Cooley to control his wrist. And now he's in on a single leg. You just got to really turn that corner. He's going to try to step around as best he can. Of course, he's a little taller and longer than some people are. He can use that to his advantage. The idea is pick it up. There you go. It'd be great to trip him backwards if he can. Yeah, nice job bringing the leg to the other side and throwing it forward. Just a good job by Stainbrook, just staying right with it, making Cooley defend him, not panicking, not trying to do something just out of desperation. And he's got that bottom leg trap, so he's got an opportunity to get a near fall here. But he sort of lets Cooley sort of work his leg loose and tip his hip back to be based and square again.
Stainbrook looking good here, leading 6-2. He's looking for his first victory since November 21st. It's been a while for him. He's lost 7 in a row, 5-12 overall this season.
You know, it happens, man. You can take a pounding out there.
Oh,
you
yeah.
start wrestling, especially at this part of the year, right? So
yeah.
Look at the teams we've wrestled lately. We've had a couple of the top 10 teams, and you've wrestled Virginia Tech, NC State, Oklahoma State, and Iowa State. I mean, those are some pretty good schools.
Yeah.
That's not too bad. You know, and even the match with South Dakota State, they're a top 25 team too. So.
Yep. Yeah, they're number 24 when the Mountaineers faced them. Part of that road trip last week at South Dakota State, number 24 in the nation, and then at number 16 Iowa State on the trip to the Midwest.
Stainbrook get on that single, but you see what happened is he stopped a little bit, allowed Cooley to sort of bury his hip. He's going to try to pop him up in the air, which he does a pretty decent job of. But then the question is, what do we do next? We might step and try to hook that leg, which would be great. Now he's got to work back to the other side. I mean, he's doing some pretty decent work in there, but you see Cooley really just trying to lock and base out as much as he can, and there's a stalemate. We got a minute 16 left in the period. Stainbrook's got a minute 41 in riding time in this 6-2 match. That shot by Cooley and got in pretty deep. Stainbrook sort of walked right into that one. And look, these are the little things, right? You got to keep your elbows in. You got to stay down in your stance. You got to block them with your hands in your head. And if you don't do that, all of a sudden, bang, they're in on your ankle or down at your knee, and now you're in a situation like this where you're scrambling and fighting. Oh, and there we're going to get called for potentially dangerous, which isn't so bad in that situation.
Time is evaporating here in the third, and the riding time point is just about to be guaranteed for Stainbrook.
And that's the other thing you can tell when somebody starts to tire out, right? Instead of banging him with your hip and really forcing him down on the mat, now all of a sudden you're trying to slide around the corner and just pull and roll because you're in bad position to begin with, and you don't really feel like fighting your way through it, right? So the riding time points on the board.
Yep. Yeah, so it's essentially 7-2 in this match here with 22 seconds and counting. There's the takedown, granted to Cooley. And his coaching staff is urging him, quick turn, quick turn. They know he needs to get Stainbrook turned here, but he's going to run out of time, it would appear.
So a nice win for Stainbrook, a good win for West Virginia. Again, keep your momentum going, keep things moving.
West Virginia's Corey Stainbrook wins a decision.
7-4 decision for the junior. His first victory since November 21st. He's now 6-12. Receives a high five from his head coach, Sammy Henson, along with a little further coaching. And now we will step aside to recognize our first senior.